everyone, welcome back to Honey Hill. My name is Samantha. I hope you're doing really well and having a good day. So today I want to do a little bit of an unboxing with you to start. I had a couple of packages come in the mail, some dahlia tubers from Swan Island dahlias. I believe they are in Oregon. And then some perennials from Far Reaches Farm, which I've never ordered from Far Reaches Farm before. These came in yesterday afternoon, and they said, of course, you always want to open plants, live plants that you get in the mail as soon as possible. They say to open immediately, but I did want to include this so you guys kind of know what to expect if you ever want to order from them in the future. I want to go ahead and start with the order from Far Reaches Farm and show you guys what I got. So first of all, this is how everything came packaged. So everything looks really nice and secure. And I'm not seeing a lot of plastic packaging, which I really appreciate. There is some, but not a lot. So first of all, what I ordered, and I know some of you are going to be really excited about this. I ordered 3 Mechanopsis bailii, and the Mechanopsis is the Himalayan blue poppy, that stunning blue poppy that is just incredibly notorious for being difficult to grow. I've never grown the Himalayan blue poppy before, and I've always wanted to. Here's a picture of the variety on the Far Reaches Farm website. And I'm going to read you the description because they say it's of all the varieties of the Himalayan blue that it's one of the easiest to grow. So, one of the fabled blue poppies whose sky blue flowers in late spring hold people in thrall, this was known for years as the species Botanicofolia, but was reclassified in 2009. This perennial species is one of the easiest to grow. A good fertile moist soil that drains in bright dappled to part shade is perfect while avoiding hot sun and dry. Likes acidic soils, cool nights, and a coldish winter. Maybe the best choice among the blue poppies if you are a little warmer and drier than optimum for these divas. So that sounds a lot like my conditions, although I don't have the most acidic soil. However, where I'm going to be planting them in the backyard is mostly fill and very sandy, so I believe that the pH down there is more acidic than what is the native soil here. So I think that's going to be the best choice. I'm going to think it over overnight before I make a final decision of where these are going to go. And the other thing I ordered is the Primula poissonii, which is the Candelabra primula. And they're a really beautiful, I believe they're more like a fuchsia pink color. So what do we have here? So the growth looks green, looks healthy, doesn't look too stressed. Okay. Yep, this is the Mechanopsis, and this is the Himalayan blue poppy. So it's a little bit loose in here in the potting compost. However, there's a broken leaf right here. I'm going to pop that off. But everything's intact and it looks pretty good. So here's one. Let's see how everything else looks. And if I can get these to flower and survive over the winter, I'm going to be incredibly happy. What inspired me to finally try to grow these was a recent episode of Gardener's World, and there was this gentleman who had this very steep sloped garden in the back of his property in the UK, and many of you have probably know which episode I'm referring to. And he had this beautiful woodland garden, and there was 2 plants that he was growing that I was like, okay, I gotta grow those. One of them was the Saxifrage London Pride, which was had that frothy pink flower down along the path. I'll show you those later. but one of them was the Himalayan blue poppy, which I think he grew from seed and actually got to bloom. And it looked like it was growing out of like a tree stump. So I was thinking about that. And I thought maybe I have so many pine trees here. Maybe I can get my dad to hollow out some old tree stumps and make sort of like a raised bed planter in that kind of dotted around that little woodland area with some acidic soil that I put into it, like mixing it in with the native soil. I don't know. I'm gonna mull it over. But this one looks really good. I don't see any broken branches, and it looks like there's a little, well, there's a little broken leaf here, but almost like this has 2 in 1 for this one. This is the candelabra primula. These get quite tall. So yes, 20 inches tall. They like wet, moist soil. They bloom from May to June. They are hardy to zone 5, and they like part shade conditions, and they are native to China. I think the candelabra primulas do spread themselves around, which would be great if they do. Anything that spreads itself around means that there's less weeds that are going to spread themselves around for me. And I mean, not everybody wants a cottage style garden where that's the aesthetic they're going for, but it's the one that I really like. And just to show you guys again, this is the company. And I've never ordered from them before, but they are local to Washington State. They are in Port Townsend, which is on the west side of the state. I am in Spokane on the east side of the state. But I used to live in the Seattle area for a period of life. And this one looks good too, this primula. Again, it looks like 2 crowns here. Everything feels like the soil still feels moist. And these didn't have to travel so far since they are coming from just the opposite side of the state. But again, everything was packaged really well, packaged with very little plastic, which I appreciate. And everything looks healthy. So next, I'm gonna open up the dahlias from Swan Island Dahlias. I sadly wasn't able to dig up my dahlias in the fall last year because of my neck, and winter hit suddenly. So it was like we were having this really warm autumn, and then all of a sudden we had just tons of snow, and it quickly escalated to multiple feet of snow. So sadly, I lost my dahlias last fall, and I'm not planning on growing a ton. I don't feel the need to grow a ton of dahlias for this year at least, because they're so prone to earwigs, because I have so much deer pressure. If I grow them in mass in the future, I want it to be in a fenced-in space, and I just don't have the room for that right now. But the dahlias I ordered are the Apple Blossom, which is a collarette variety, and it is one of, I'll pop a photo up on the screen, but it is one of my favorite dahlias. And this one I hope to keep and have produce more tubers that I can just keep expanding my collection of them in the future. So I'm going to be taking good care of these. So I just popped a little growth tip off taking this out of the bag, but this tuber feels very nice and healthy. It has multiple eyes sprouting. It had a little growth tip off that I just popped off when I was taking it out of the peat moss, but that's okay, it's gonna keep growing. And then here's the second tuber, and I do see an eye here. So there's at least one eye on this tuber. I'm gonna keep these in the peat moss. I would love to see growers stop using peat moss because it's a non-renewable resource. if we could switch to cocoa fiber or other packing materials that are better for the environment, that would be great. But I'm certainly not an expert on those things, but that's just something that I'm becoming more aware of, and I hope we can start eliminating the use of peat moss in the US. Okay, so those are the plants I ordered online. Very happy with the quality of everything that came in. I find, as a general tip, if you want to order plants online, do it as early in the season as possible. Whenever I've ordered plants online that come in the summer, they're typically much more stressed. There's much more yellowing on the leaves, and it's just not an ideal time to be shipping plants when there are very high temperatures around the country. But everything here looks really, really great. I'm going to check back in with you guys tomorrow as I plant these things out and do some other tasks in the garden. Tonight, my husband and I are going to the Shania Twain concert here in Spokane. I believe this is the first city in her tour. We are not like the biggest country music fans at all, but Shania is like her own thing, and I have such vivid memories of my mom and dad listening to her albums when I was a girl growing up, and so it brings back all these memories for me, and I just think that's going to be really, really fun. I haven't been to a big concert in years. I don't remember the last time I was at a big concert, so should be very, very fun. And I will look forward to seeing you guys again here tomorrow. Okay, so it is the next day and I am back from the Shania Twain concert. My husband and I had a date night last night. The kids spent the night at their grandparents' house. We got to go on a nice walk this morning with the dog and enjoy this beautiful day. I think it's gonna be like 81 degrees today, which is just insane to me that we had snow just a week or two ago and now it's in the 80s. But I had another box of plants that I ordered come in the mail. This is from Garden Crossings. I don't think I've ever ordered from Garden Crossings before. And then I had, a couple weeks ago, these came in and I'm going to plant them today. These are Japanese anemones, a variety called frilly knickers. And it's a beautiful frilly double variety of Japanese anemone that I saw photos of in the UK, but could not for the life of me find it anywhere locally or anywhere else online. And there was an Etsy seller who sells these, and they've been through some harsh weather, and they're still kind of half wrapped up in plastic. Although as soon as they came in, I took the plastic off the bottom so that they could drain. But they're pushing new growth. All of them are, and I'm going to get these planted because they need to get planted out ASAP. So I'm going to plant these out today, as well as move the hardy geranium that is in the spot that I want to plant these, and show you guys how I move and divide hardy geranium. Now that variety that I'm going to be moving came from my mom. She just gave me divisions of it from her garden when I was starting this garden because I needed a lot of inexpensive or free plants to get going. And the deer don't touch it. It has a lovely scent. It spreads prolifically. However, it doesn't really flower very much, and it's just sort of a green ground cover. And I have more beautiful things I would like to put in its place in the front of the house, and I'm actually going to divide it and use it all over the rose meadow because in that area right now I need ground cover. So these that I ordered are hellebores, and they're more from the wedding party series. But this was another variety that I could find, maid of honor, mother of the bride, which I got some of those locally, and then wedding bells. But I couldn't find Flower Girl anywhere, and I'm gonna pop a photo of Flower Girl up on the screen. But to me, Flower Girl was the variety that almost like stuck out to me the most. And so Garden Crossings had her in stock. You can kind of see how everything comes packaged in here if you've never ordered from them before either. So everything was nice and secure. So here's number one. We've got some loose soil, but the leaves look nice and green. They look healthy. The soil feels nice and moist. And this plant looks good. So I'm going to get these planted this weekend as well. But, whoop, here's the tag. Isn't that just stunning? I think that is probably one of the most beautiful hellebores I've ever seen. So the Flower Girl variety grows 18 to 24 inches tall, and it is hardy down to zone 4A. So very, very winter hardy down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So these should do just fine in my landscape. And hellebores do prefer part shade to shade. I have some planted actually out in full sun, which they've been there for a couple years and they're doing fine. But I'm probably going to move those and have a section of flower bed next to my garage that I have all my hellebores kind of packed out in a big drift. But I'm still thinking about that. And then it looks like the other two in here had at one point blooms that they're now gone over. That would have been awesome to see them in bloom. Ooh, got some loose soil. Okay, this one looks even better. Really nice. I can see new growth pushing from the base. It had a couple blooms on it, which have left their nice little seed heads in place. And that one looks really, really good. Okay. This one also, so there's one broken stem here, but everything else looks okay, and there's new growth coming from the base. So, can you see the new growth coming right here out from the base? So, again, all of them feel like they've been watered and have not dried out, and they look good. So I'm going to start getting my anemones planted, first moving the geranium, and then I will give these guys a good water and think about where I'm going to place them in the garden. Okay, so this is the hardy geranium from my mom's garden that I'm going to be digging up, dividing, and moving elsewhere in the garden and replacing with those frilly knickers, Japanese anemones. Now, these plants, you probably got, I think, a little small start many, many years ago at a local park flower sale, and she has it now all over her garden. So it's definitely an easy one to divide and share with friends. But I'm just going to be digging it up and show you how I divide this. Okay. So I'm going to start lifting up clumps of this. Okay. So, literally, out of this clump, every single one of these offshoots has a piece of root, has the leaves. This is a brand new plant. So, if you can imagine from this clump, there's probably at least 100 new plants in here that I can spread around, divide, and share. But whew, definitely good value for money. And I might spread, I'll probably make the clumps not quite that small. I'll probably plant something about this size. But I'm going to spread these all over the rose meadow and let this just kind of take off as a fragrant ground cover that can hopefully help keep the deer away. Although that's probably very wishful thinking. Okay, so that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check back in next time because I will be showing you guys how I create my sweet pea arches using found branches. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.